Okay. Yep, we're good. Let me just check if this is working before Eddie turns up. Huh. Still not working. Really do not know why. Just decided to stop working at some point, did Trigger Fire. No idea why. So really that means I should turn off the redeem so it doesn't get people wasting money on it, or wasting channel points, I should say. It's good I can mess around with this whilst the starting ad nonsense is going. Right, Frug is there. It does work. See, it does work. So why, when I do the redeem, does it not? Yeah, I think it's definitely messed up with Trigger Fire. Which is a shame, it was fun. Give it a little refresh just in case. Right, OBS is open. Connect to OBS. OBS connected. Nope. Just not happening. Just not happening. Well, I guess I'll go and disable that for now so we don't have anyone wasting points on that whilst it's still not working properly, and turn that off. Okay, and the ads seem to be over, which is a surprise because normally they're still going at this point. So let's get on with something, shall we? Was that there? Nope, that was the very silly little scribble I did earlier for a thing for the D&D campaign. I did I just save it as illustration? I think I did. I did, because that's how lazy I am with naming conventions sometimes. So we've got these things to go through maybe at some point, and also I wanted to have a little bit more of a mess around on this. Trying to see if I could maybe come up with a design that kinds of fits what I'm aiming for. I had to look for a couple of reference things to kind of get the general idea of what I was after. I mean, it's not going for the plain overalls, which I might do as a separate outfit. Depends on what goes on with it. So let's get rid of that for now. See, the problem with a lot of the outfits is most of them are not designed around, you know, thick hips. Let's make this a thicker scribbly line. Actually, before we get into that, let's drop in a magical symmetry ruler. The question is, will this actually look decent or will it just look stupid? Probably just look stupid, but we'll have a look. So mainly the issue that I have is with the hips. In fact, let's just take a chunk of this away and start from scratch around the hips. Make them a bit, these things a bit closer. Maybe, just maybe, can make it look a little bit better if we keep it a bit closer. We still want a brown for this, but maybe a bit darker. Let's duplicate that layer and try sort of an undershirt type thing now. So let's go with lighter brown. Maybe. Because yeah, I was thinking something a little bit more like the poofy arm one. I've got a pattern for it somewhere, and I really should have looked at it before I started this, because it probably would have made this a lot easier. Okay, and then we'd have to have some kind of like classic headband. Oh, actually, no, maybe that's a bit too deep for goggles. Here's a good question. If I no, that I was going to say, I was hoping I'd be able to flip it on one side and it would actually do what I'm after, but no. I think what this needs to be really is no, that wouldn't work either. Yeah, because of the symmetry, it's not letting us cut one up at a time. So anyway, that's fine. We can progress with it anyway. It's the symmetry is more there just to make it a bit easier. This will not be like final design sort of stuff. I'd have to go through it again. Would need to think how I'm going to do the goggles though. Whether they're going to, if they're going to sit on top of the hair's going to need a redesign. Well, to be fair, they probably need a redesign. The goggles would need to be designed around the ears anyway. So rather than the usual band that they're on, like that, could have something that was much more of a sort of looped affair with the ears going through. But again, that would still require a redesign of what the hair's going to look like. Actually, you know what might be a good reference for this? That Ratchet and Clank, whatever I don't know the name of the. To be honest, I know the name of Ratchet and Clank because it's the name of the game. I've never played them. I'm so sorry to people that love those games. But I think, doesn't the female character, the female Lombat in that, or Lombax, whatever they're called, also wear goggles? So it might be interesting to see how they worked around the giant ears. And where they went with something that was like designed to fit around the ears, or did they just make it go under and around the back of the neck? Which might work. I don't know. But again, the issue is with either of these designs, I'm going to need to think about how the hair is going to be. Hmm. Who would have thought designing characters required thinking? Not me when I set about trying to redesign this thick beast. So how would... I don't think the other reference images that I found... So I think the other ones I found just go with having the hair kind of like stick out over the top at the front. Which could work. Not sure how I'd have to do it with the 3D model though. Imagine if we're having to do that with a 3D model, we'd have to model the head, model where the goggles are going to be, and then model the hair around it to go over the top, and then deal with any hair physics. Because at least doing it that way, if it's going to be a part where the hair is, say, underneath the band, the hair can, like, be split into two pieces, so we can have, like, one bit at the top that is its own separate piece up here. And then this piece would start from here and would have all the physicsy bits on. Because obviously if it's been held in place here, the top is not going to move. Which would also possibly make doing physics for the hair easier, because then we've only really got to work on the two free-flowing bits rather than figuring out how the entire top of the head would work as well. But I think what would have to do, like the strap would have to be like an under ear thing, minimum. Or I tweak the ears to not have quite so... What's the word I'm after? So deep of a profile on the head? I'm not sure how to word it really. So rather than having the ears stop like halfway down the head, the front part stops up here. And then that way... Let me... Oh, wait, hang on. What layer are we on? There we go, that's the layer. That's not the layer. So yeah, that way the strap would sort of go under here. With goggles there. Although, again, the problem with that is it's not going to make as much sense when, they're pulled down, because that's going to put a lot of pressure pulling it down into the eye from the top, but not the bottom as much. So yeah, I might have to, at least when it comes to the goggle portion, either redesign the band entirely or tweak the ears a bit. Or maybe not even have them on top of the head. Yeah, maybe we go with having the goggles sort of down here. Yeah, maybe we go with having them sort of hanging off here and just be hanging like around the back of the neck, rather than being on the forehead. They would save any messing around with the hair at that point, because they could just be a static mesh that controls the same as the torso, maybe with a little bit of extra physics for if I, move from side to side. So that could work. Would be an option. Would say for all of this nonsense, wouldn't have to think of any of that. Because it would literally be pick them up, put them on head. Rather than having them like constantly up and above. You are that one, you are that one. Okay. So let's flip you that way. Of course, that doesn't quite work doing it there because they're on a different layer. So let's put them on a different layer entirely so we can do that. Let's think. I need to change the color of these to be a different type of brown. At least for the sake of knowing what the hell is going on. I mean, what else would I want for this? Hmm. Hey, Ezzy. I'm afraid I had to turn off your favourite thing since it still was not working. Yeah, I tried it right at the start of stream and it just did not want to work. I could try putting it back on and seeing if like turning it off and on again works, but I honestly doubt it. Can give it a go. Channel points, blah blah blah. Turn on Make sure is edited to description Frug. It's called Frug. It's called Save that. We'll double check that it's named properly on. Command name is I mean, I wonder if it's just something silly, like it has issues when there's a question mark involved or something stupid like that. Yeah, it's just for some reason. Hang on, let's unlock the layer just in case that's the problem. Does it have to be an unlocked layer in OBS? It doesn't seem that that was the problem. I was hoping then that that might have actually been the thing to do it. Let's try one more time. And no, it's just for some reason been weird. As sad as it is, but there you go. I can play it manually for you. Right, one more go. Nah, it's not doing it. That's it. I'll have to go and have a look and work out why. Yes, they'll no longer be able to redeem the points they've earned. I'm going to disable that. It's only one reward. Why are you complaining so much, Twitch? So I'm disabling it because I know that they can't use it. That's kind of the point. Oh, you have a good work, says he. And don't forget, hopefully today or possibly tomorrow, we should have new D&D episodes up on Sheepa's YouTube VOD channel. I think we just did episode 6 today, and episode 5 is uploading, and episode 6 is. So, if you want absolute nonsense to listen to whilst you're at work, there's 6 whole episodes of it. And I'm in 5 of them? 4 of them? I forget. I've slept since the last time I counted. Yes, I really think you're still here. That's why I was still talking to you. I don't need stream avatars at the bottom to know when you're still hanging around, bread boy. Wow, we've already got through the the Synesthesia OST, and now we're to Diddy Kong Racing because it's a great soundtrack. Sure you do, Ezzy. Sure you do. Right, we need layer. Let's clean up some of these edges a little, shall we? Bye bye, Ezzy. Have a good work. Enjoy doing the business. Some nice baggy legs. Right, and then let's see. Next one is you. These would have the good old puffy sleeves. Not sure about what we'd have on the sleeve, whether it would just be a like a generic button affair, or maybe have it all like scrunched up, like the sleeves have been rolled up. Not sure. Something a little high-necked, maybe. I mean, if you can't tell, this next model is not gonna be like just like this current one. It's not gonna be full-on boobs. That's not what I'm here for. I actually like that. That's come out not that bad. I mean, it's actually something I could probably pull off real well too. I even already have the goggles somewhere. The apron bit would be simple. Shirt, the main bit would be easy, like the bodice part of the shirt would be fine. I would have to learn how to do poofy arms. I'm assuming poofy arms, because normally for doing arms, you have. I think it's normally. Sort of that sort of shape, so that when it's rolled around, you have like the solid end, and then you have like more of a that shape, because then you can like easily attach this to like the main part of the bodice. So assuming that you'd have to have something that's more like that for the poofy sleeves, maybe, because then it gives like extra. Because like this would have to all be bunched up, and then these would like stitch together as normal, just in a bit of an unusual way. But also, I have got a pattern somewhere, and I could go and find it. But the problem is, I say I have a pattern somewhere. I know where the pattern is. It's in my pattern folder. The problem is, the pattern has about, or the pattern folder has about 50, no, maybe about 30 or 40 patterns in there that most of them are unopened because I haven't got around to touching any of them yet. Because I'm still trying to lose enough weight to make it worthwhile spending the money on fabric. Because if people have never actually made their own clothes before, it's kind of expensive. And I do actually have like a cupboard full of fabrics. Like I've got like I think 5 or 6 meters of black felt that was for hats that I never got around to touching. I've got like probably about 5 meters or so of a really nice thin caramel cotton, kind of the same color as this, to be honest, just a little bit darker, which I was planning on using for shirts because it's that the cotton's that fine that it'd be really good in summer. Like, it's not see-through, but it's thin enough that it's not going to get too hot when the weather starts turning. I've got about, again, probably about 5 or 6 meters of. I can never pronounce it. I think it's called. It's either. I think it's pronounced viscous or viscose. I don't quite. I never heard anyone who knows how it's how it's said, actually say it. In my head, it reads as viscose. And it's like a slightly elasticy thin material. And I was thinking of using it for trousers, and that's like a. Actually, it probably think these two colours, but stripes. So there's like a thick band of this one. And then repeat. For like the entire thing. And it's pretty much dead on these colours as well. So I've accidentally been designing this costume around coloured fabrics that I actually own. Which does mean at some point I could cosplay as myself, which is hilarious to think. Just to say cosplay as myself is silly. Ah, the stress relief of slowly erasing something. Yes, I think the only thing that I wouldn't have the material for, or at least not enough, would be the apron, which probably would have to be more of a leather to sort of fit into the character of it being an engineer. I do have leather. I just don't have anywhere near enough in of the right size. Because the stuff I have, it's like I think the stuff that I've got is rabbit leather, so it's quite small. Mainly bought it a while ago for practice. Making a few like little things, getting into the hang of the skill. One of the other many skills is leatherworking on my list of things that I have tried and am not terrible at. I'm not good, but I'm not terrible. Let's just delete the one half of this. I could mess around with the symmetry layer again, but effort. Oh, it's not any effort. What am I talking about? The amount of effort is that. Let's trim off this unneeded excess. Oops. And that, folks, is why you make sure you have small brush strokes so you don't undo a large amount of stuff you just did. Unless, of course, you're being sensible and you're doing these things on separate layers. Which I'm not, because this is still just sketch. Shouldn't even have mentioned the animal creature design thing in the title, because I think I'm going to end up spending most of it doing this. Because that's why the 3D model hasn't actually progressed any further since the last time. I've been very much at the point where I'm like, do I want to spend ages doing the 3D model if I don't actually know what I'm doing with it yet? Like, on the one hand, it was great because I'm getting back into the hang of using Blender. Because Blender, the interface is not the nicest in all the 3D programs that I've used. However, Blender is free. Unlike Studio Max and Maya, which are free if you sail the open seas, and I'm not going to do that for a thing I'm going to be using like commercially, because that's just a bit too cheeky. Actually, I don't remember the last time I did sail the open seas for anything, you know. Probably like back at uni, and that wasn't even me doing it. That was friends of mine getting the actual software and just handing it to me and going, "Here, use this." I'm like, "Okay, I do need it for my course," and God knows the university is not going to pay £3,000 for a copy of actual 3D Studio Max. And we totally didn't have a professor or advisor. No, he was a professor there. Totally didn't have one of them say, "Yeah, this is an expensive piece of software. We're never going to ask you where you found your copy." They very much knew where we were going to be finding our copy. Yeah, I actually quite like this design. It's doing something for me. Maybe that's just because I am basic. But I have not attached gears to it anywhere, and I don't plan to. And yeah, I might need to like tweak the color designs on the. Yeah, I might need to sort of like maybe tweak the colors, although then again, it might work. Well, one thing I might do is do fingerless gloves. Oh, okay, it was. Every now and then, Clip Studio has the habit of just like freezing for a moment while it does a little autosave. don't know, I'm cleaning up this so much when it is literally just a sketch to get some ideas. Although I say getting ideas, I think, like I say, I've pretty much settled on this one now because I actually quite like how it's turned out. Um, I've forgotten what kind of green I use. You know, it would actually be helpful if I move the canvas over here and I look at my other screen. If I angle it right, I can actually put the green next to my head. Okay, so oh yeah, a little more to the blue side, I think. Hmm, close enough. Again, this is only the sketch. It seems as though I've actually missed a bit of the hair off from this, because I think we have a bit of that coming from that side. One fun thing that's been happening recently is we've got a bit more energy and started putting a bit more work into Rise of Embers again. I think we've finally settled, I think, on a sort of base system to work with, which is, to be honest, what threw us before. Anyone that was watching the streams that we had, what was this now? About 10 months ago when we started this, we had like a crazy idea for like, yeah, certain classes, and we'd have like combinations of classes and all that, and it got to a point where we had that many that the problem was that we just had no idea where to go from that point. And so the whole idea of going through and doing all the stats for the classes kind of killed us. And so we just simply stopped because we just did not have the energy to sit there and go through numbers, because it would involve balancing all of, balancing everything up front to make sure that nothing was too powerful to begin with. And it was just, way too much work to start with for not a lot of return, to be honest. So we kind of like left that, die for a while. And then, like, about a week or so ago, I just had a message from Sheepa at like 2 in the morning with like, oh my god, I think I've thought of an idea about how we do experience. And then that went into, well, if that's how we're going to experience, why not, build the quote unquote classes around how that works. And so, we went with the idea you don't necessarily have a class. You start off with like, when you do character creation, you start off with like a certain amount of points to use for all your skills. We're not the first one to invent the idea of point buy. We won't be the last. But it's a case of like you buy your starting stats. Yeah, so if you want to be a barbarian, then you put a lot of your like point buy stuff into the usual barbarian-y type things. You know, your strengths, your wisdom, your strengths, your constitution, all that sort of stuff. Although we have different names for our ones. If you want to be like more magic focused, you put it into the focus tree, which is the magicy stuff. And then rather than like then going straight into being able to like do like crazy stuff with skills and everything, you buy your skills as well. So let's say you start your journey in the game. Your DM says, right, everyone, you've got 200 points to spend. And then you can go in, you spend some of them on your stats, you spend some of them on like your basic skills, and then you have a bunch left over to then spend on your actual abilities. So if you want to like be a mage, you drop in 10 points to know how to use magic. You then have to like spend a few points to say, okay, I can do level 1 spells, and spend a few points to unlock some of the first level spells. So it might be that, you know, to become a basic first level caster, it's going to cost you maybe 35 to 40 or 50 points, depending on how deep you want to go into how many spells you want. But likewise, if you're a barbarian, rather than like spending it in spell stuff, you would have fighting styles. So you might want to say, just get generic martial weapon training. You know, you are one of the guards at your village. You know how to wield a weapon. That costs 10 points to like get some training. But then you're like, I want to be really good with a club. Yeah, I want to be the stereotypical like Paleolithic warrior person. I want club. You spend like 10 points to get like a bit of bonus to attack with your club, and like get some extra things for there. But then because you've got that, whereas a magic user would have spells, the fighters would have actual things they can do. So if you're specially trained with a club, one of the things you could then spend some more points on is being able to smack someone around the head and daze them for a couple of rounds. So they get lower attack rolls against everyone else because they're dizzy. Or maybe if you've chosen sort of like a spear or a staff, you can use your points to spend some money on knowing how to trip an opponent if they, have small enough legs. Yeah, we figured that would happen, and then the problem is you spend all that on your strength, and then you're really really strong. You just have no idea how to use any form of weaponry, and you get eaten. Because that's one of the things we're trying to like balance out that start bit, so that rather than, yes, you can put everything into strength, you can dump all of your stats into the build, which is the muscle sort of like stat that we've got. Yeah, your actual physical build. Put all 200 in there. The problem is you still have to roll ace. And if you don't have the skill to it, your roll ain't going to mean nothing. I mean, that would actually, if you're going to do it as a roleplay thing, that could actually be a fun thing to try with someone. Yeah, you are the Unga Bunga lad. You have no idea what people are saying. Someone points and goes, smash. And you go, huh? And then you roll your whatever dice we're choosing for this. I think we're going with the D12. Because D12s are criminally misunderstood. Yeah, you roll your D12, you get a 1, and you're like, huh? And you just kind of like scratch your head and look like an idiot. If you roll a 12, you might understand that they want you to smack that thing on the head. If you roll a 1 and you don't understand, the next round you might just get eaten. Yeah, bearing in mind the kind of things you're going to be going up against are like giant creatures. But another thing that we thought of was also having the idea of the challenge rating also being the same experience you get for winning. So, let's say you face off against a wolf, just a single wolf, and you survive. Congratulations, you get 10 points to spend on your character, however you see fit. Because, they're survival points, Sheepa called them. Because, we don't want experience points, because experience is fine, but you need to survive. So if you can survive, whether that means beating the thing to death or getting away and running like hell, if you can do either of those, you get the survival points for surviving the encounter. So yeah, let's say you survive that wolf. You get your 10 points. You don't have to spend them straight away. You could, as the barbarian, be thinking maybe something happened and you've noticed one of the gods in action and you want to sort of like try doing like faith magic. So you could save your points, and then after a couple more encounters with like lower level things, or maybe one encounter with something big, you've now got enough points to spend on getting in contact with a divine and being able to do faith spell casting, and enough points to unlock the level 1 tier of spells and buy a few spells. And so the whole point of it is like there is no class system. You can, if you really want, go jack of all trades and put like a bit into fighting, a bit into sneaking, a bit into magic of all varieties. You won't. I mean, you'll survive pretty well in a village. If you never leave a village, you'll do pretty well, because you'll be that person that everyone comes to because you know everything. You can do enough of everything to keep a village going. But outside of the village, everything is going to be stronger than you, apart from like the most basic stuff. Whereas everyone else in your party that's been specialising is going to be a lot stronger than you. I should knock my phone on the floor. Oops. But yeah, so we like the idea of letting people decide what they want their class to be. If you want to be a magical barbarian, more power to you. Spend your points, go for it. If you want to be someone that's just completely pure magic and you have the frailest of bodies around, you want to be the full-on glass cannon, you can. It's going to be risky, but you can. You're not going to be tied to arbitrary. Well, you chose the barbarian class, so you can multi-class into magic, but it's going to lock you out of like your main thing because you need concentration for magic, and you can't do concentration checks when you do rage, so you're kind of stuck. You either do one or the other. Whereas in our system, you can do whatever you want as long as you have the skill checks in place. Boom, go for it. I'm pretty happy with how this design has definitely turned up quite nice. Now that I've added in like the background colours of like skin tone and hair, it doesn't clash quite as much as I was expecting it would. I never even looked at my other reference. I saw one reference, I was like, that gives me an idea. And I roll with the idea, and I'm like, I've got it done now. And I look at the other one, and I'm like, Yeah, that one doesn't look anywhere near as nice as the one I've got. That's a nice reference image, but it ain't going to work for what I'm after. Because for the one thing, I can see side boob, and Twitch TOS would not like side boob in a design. Ooh, no, 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 no. So we keep them titties nice and covered. Although, to be fair, with the way Twitch TOS things work, going by their own guidelines, as long as this bit is covered and there is no underboob, you're fine. Which is why things like William's model, when he takes the shirt off, when he's got the boober activated, it has basically little like pasties on the end of his boobs. And the weird thing is, going exactly by their guidelines, they don't care about cleavage. So technically, having like absolute gazongas would be completely fine by Twitch's guidelines. Yeah, they could practically be hanging out. And Twitch would not, go against, it would not go against like the TOS sort of guidelines that Twitch has put out. Because their thing is no visible nipples, which the bit at the end covers, and no underboob, which as long as you have like the entire base of the boob covered, there is no underboob because it's covered. So you couldn't have like the top that kind of like does this at the bottom. Ooh, no, 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 no. They wouldn't let you do that. But you can have the biggest cleavage you possibly could want, and it doesn't quite make sense. I mean, I can understand if it makes sense for IRL streamers, because if they're wearing something that does have underboob, there is the chance of a wardrobe malfunction, and it could fall out. Therefore, definitely going against terms of service. Animated characters, there's not going to be a malfunction. They're drawn. They're not just going to like, unless it's been built into the model, it ain't happening. And if it's been built into the model, you ain't doing it on Twitch. You're doing it on one of the other sites for other activities. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it there. I've got like, I've actually got an outfit on this girl, which I wasn't expecting to have. I was expecting to like have a couple of like really really shitty ideas, and then actually not have anything more than that. So the fact that we've actually got a fleshed out design, I'm actually quite happy with. I mean, it's going to be a pain to 3D model it because it's got fluffy, it's ruffly bits. And I still might bring in the hips a little bit. Not much. I've already brought them in a little bit. I'm still a bit unsure on how I want to go with it. I have to do a bit of playing around and seeing what works. But yeah, let's see who is online. I'm going to guess Stars. Oh, would you look at that? It's Stars. And Chubb's actually on as well. Is Chubb actually about to end stream? Because it's quite late for Chubb. It's quite late for Chubb. I think she's still going. So might as well raid her. Yeah, she's going back into her sort of capture software, so she must still be going because she's still messing around with the model. Let's go and raid Chubb, since she's also doing art. Let's see, what are we doing tomorrow? I don't think Joshy is doing a sort of like Jackbox afternoon, so I won't be wasting my. I won't. Well, not wasting. I won't be using up my social battery in the afternoon for that. So I might stream again tomorrow. Might do some more stuff, some more arty stuff. Maybe try and do another outfit, or I might just go straight back to the characters for the creature design stuff tomorrow. Yeah. Until then, let's click on raid because oh my god, I think we're raiding just at the point